Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So good to be together. We're going to welcome Shabbat by welcoming the angels, a little Shalom Aleichem on this I guess it's a June gloom Friday night on this rainy, so it doesn't feel like a very summery springtime. So we need to bring some more of our light into the world. So we'll turn to page 24 in our prayer books for Shalom Aleichem.
Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom.
Got me breathing. That's good.
That's good as we're warming up, as we take a moment for those of us that are together in the sanctuary to let go of everything that happened before we walked through these doors. Again, the weather, the traffic, the parking, all of that, to just let that go. And I know that many are joining us online, and that we could also just release the week. Again, we are just so lucky. I always say, I just feel so lucky to be Jewish, to be able to mark time like this, to be able to have this built-in rest, this built-in break, this built-in time to separate and to focus, and to really rejuvenate and refuel my soul, so that my soul can then find the strength to go back into the world, and make a difference. And so it is so good to be here and to be together. For those that I haven't met, I'm Rabbi Rachel Joseph.
Cantor Raina Green.
And we are joined by Michael Barnes, as always on the piano. It's also Michael's birthday, so we had to just embarrass him and say happy birthday to Michael Barnes. We want to take a moment, like we do at the beginning of every service, to welcome each other. Those of us, again, in person, please turn around, wish each other Shabbat Shalom, wave to somebody, say hi. If you have your phone nearby and you're at home, or even when you're in the sanctuary, to send that Shabbat Shalom text. It's one of my favorite things that we have done now with pandemic, but I always say I love getting texts from all different time zones, of people saying Shabbat Shalom. So take your phone out, send a Shabbat Shalom text to somebody, and if you're watching, send a Shabbat Shalom text. You could send us a text, and then you're gonna turn your phone off and put it away, so that we can really focus on just being together as a community here or through cyberspace. And we also are so lucky that we get to celebrate that there is light to bring into our dark, rainy Portland skies, and we have a young man becoming a bar mitzvah this weekend. So we're so thrilled for Elijah Tabak and your whole family, and we're going to invite you to come and actually bring in the light. So we're gonna invite your family to the bima to lead us in lighting our Sabbath candles. So come on up and you can join us over here. We are on page 2. Come on up, Elijah.
As these Shabbat candles could give light to all who hold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who hold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
This is the hardest part. You can do old school and just light a match if you want. This has a safety. We can do it together.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Amen. If you're able, please rise for Kiddush on page 5.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kadosh v'ahava u'ratzon, inchidanu, zikaron le'maaseh b'reishit, ki hu yom tehillah, le'mikra'e kodesh, zecher yitziat Mitzrayim, kivanu b'charta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, b'shabbat kodeshecha, be'ahava u'ratzon, hinaltanu.
Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Oh, well, l'chaim to them. Okay, more tomorrow. Don't go
Yes,
too far.
more of that beautiful voice tomorrow.
Yes,
Mazel
music.
tov. Mazel tov.
As you said earlier, music, singing is so, the experience of receiving music and also of singing is so rejuvenating. We turn in our prayer books to page 12 because we do know that singing is a spiritual practice. Singing reminds us to keep breathing, to be in the moment, to be present. And so we sing out loud, or we let the music rush over us, wash over us this evening as we sing a new song to God. Psalm 95 on page 12. We could probably sit down. Yeah, probably sit down as we sing. Let us sing unto God, sing unto God a new song. Let us sing unto God, sing unto God a new song. Yael the la, yael the la, yael the la, yael the la, yael the la. Kadma fanav metoda bismirot narialo try that lechu neran naladonai naria letzur yishenu kadma fanav metoda Let us sing unto God a new song. Let us sing unto God a new song. Yael la la, yael la la, yael la la. Page 20, we welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. I couldn't agree more, Rabbi, about what you say. We have such a gift. Shabbat is such a gift to just be able to take the time to welcome this Shabbat experience into our midst, this opportunity to breathe, this opportunity to just be. And so we welcome this opportunity with open arms and open heart as we welcome the Sabbath bride. Kala, Pene Shabbat, Kabbalat, verse 5. He don't renri, keep my onrich, kumi uri, shita beri, kvod Adonai, alayich nikla, lechadodi li, katkada, pene shabane kapela, lechadodi li, katkada, pene shabane kapela. We rise and welcome the Sabbath bride. Boi v'shalom ateret mala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lechadodi likrat kala, pene shabane kapela, lechadodi likrat kala, pene shabat lekabela. We remain standing as we turn to page 28, as we call ourselves to prayer with the Baruch Hu. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Let's turn to page 30 and read Ma'ariv Aravim in English, the middle of page 30 together. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Sebaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 33, as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me, did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone, help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema is on page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto.
Please be seated and join us in chanting V'ahavta on page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Turn to page 39. Read responsively in the middle of the page. 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Our redemption song, Mi Chamocha, on page 40.
אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 43, our nighttime prayer of protection. Top of page 43, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkiveinu, Leshalom. V'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu lechayim, Ufros aleinu, Sukat shlomecha. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
And as we spread that Sukkot Shlomecha, that sukkah of peace, that protection, we can feel in that melody, it feels like protection. I think we've also been singing that melody so much over the last couple of years. So now I associate it with that extra level of protection. And on Shabbat, it said as we get to sort of add all of those things again to help us, we're given so many tools. So we start with the angels and we welcome the Sabbath bride and we bring in the light and we spread that shelter. And then we come to our prayer of Shabbat, V'shamru on page 44. Again, getting that gift of renewal, given that extra soul and that break and that commandment to become refreshed, that commandment to just cease and renew. So the melody is not a calm melody. It's a familiar melody. We go from like the blanket of the peace that I can feel to the like, yes, the Shabbat. And that's okay, because that's part of the service too, right? We go up and down in our liturgy. So this always makes me think of camp, which I love. So as we're getting into June and sort of into more of that, and maybe eventually outside where we'll really get to be up and down and doing different things. But the V'shamru that you know and love, yes?
Absolutely.
Page 44.
We can slowly work our way into it.
I mean, happy is good.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael awesome. La'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam u'vayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam.
Some people out there are definitely ready for summer, to get outside, to raise up, which is perfect because the Shamru does get us ready for Tefillah, for the great standing prayer. So that's part of it, as we really build the energy and build in the liturgy so that we now rise. If you're able, we turn to page 46.
We start our Amidah by saying, God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Please, God, when I open my mouth, may it be for good. Sometimes that's hard to remember. And so we begin the Amidah with this new intention that I hope you'll join in with. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. That's the whole thing. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot Umevi Gula Livnei B'neihem Lema'an Shemo Rahava Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Morid Hatal Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato B'Shenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umidol Melach Melech Mevit Umechayeh Umat Mi'ach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. Let's join together on the top of page 55. Top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. We turn to page 60 for our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam
Baruch atah Adonai, havarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Blessed are Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace, and we say, Amen.
Amen.
We'll take a few moments for Tefillat Halev, and I really believe this is the most important thing that we do coming out of Shalom Rav, coming out of our prayer for peace, is then we take a moment for our own private prayer, our own private meditation. We focus on something that we're grateful for, as we were talking about, right? It's not always easy to separate. It's not always easy to come into the space and come into Shabbat. It's definitely not always easy to find something to be grateful for, find something that brings you peace. And it is so incredibly important, because that's really how we bring healing to the world. So we have to find something that we can focus on to bring some healing to ourselves, that then will bring healing to the world. So I really encourage to just find one piece to hold on to for the Shabbat to carry you through tonight and tomorrow. So let's take a moment for private prayer and private meditation.
These words by Yehuda Halevi on page 53. Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me.
And as our hearts cry out and we ask to draw near, there are many of us that are in search of more wholeness, and we talk about peace, not just to find something to be grateful for and to find some peace in that, but to also find some spiritual peace for ourselves, some blessings for ourselves. And so we have lots of prayers in our liturgy, but we also have one specifically where we're asking for some peace for our bodies, for our peace for our souls, and blessings for that. And if we like to call out names in our tradition, so if you're thinking of someone that you want to bring some more peace to, some more wholeness, if you're crying out for some more blessings and you want to share their name out loud, so we can all think of these names and these peoples and send blessings to them yourself. But we ask if you want to share some names, you can share those names now. And the words from Mishe Berach L'Cholim are on page 253.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We just celebrated the holiday of Shavuot, and so every time I hear someone talking about rights and responsibilities recently, I find myself thinking about the mitzvot, commandments, the core of Jewish life and practice. There are spiritual mitzvot and ethical mitzvot, mitzvot involving relationships between human beings and God, mitzvot involving relationships between human beings and each other. Taking on mitzvot means accepting obligation to each other, to the community, to God. The whole system is rooted in an ethic of obligation and responsibility. But in this moment, I'm increasingly feeling that the American focus on rights and individual liberties is getting in the way of our capacity to recognize our responsibilities to each other and to our community. The sad reality in our world is that our focus is nearly entirely on ourselves, that everyone else is merely in the way, an annoyance. We must protect ourselves first. Does it have to be our default position? Must we fail again and again to recognize and help each other instead of thinking only of ourselves? I've often taught that the single most important idea in the entire Torah is from the first chapter of Genesis, where it states that God created human beings, B'Tselem Elohim, in the divine image. If we actually believe this idea that each human being on earth is a reflection of the divine, that each human being contains a spark of divinity, we would out of necessity act in a very different way than we most often do. How can we possibly treat another human being with disdain or disrespect if we actually believe we were gazing at the image of the divine whenever we looked at them? This is what makes the idea of holiness so powerful, so potentially life-changing, even world-changing for us. It means having an awareness that we are not the center of the universe, those around us are not in our way, but rather we are connected to one another. They're created in the divine image just like us. This week's Torah portion, Naso, describes the act by the priests of blessing the people Israel. We've seen Aaron bless the Israelites, but never had a formula for the blessing. Here we have it presented, and we know this blessing well. It's the Birkat Kohanim, sometimes called Birkat Shalom, the priestly blessing. A text that was so powerful enough that archaeologists have found medallions and amulets with the text of it in graves around Jerusalem dating to the early Second Temple period at the least. These words, these 3 short phrases, have been uttered by rabbis and cantors for hundreds and thousands of years as a way of invoking God's sacred blessing, like we do on this bima all the time, upon babies as they're named, people who convert to Judaism, couples as they're wed, b'nai mitzvah as they lead us in prayer. What makes these words of blessing so powerful? Throughout history, the commentators of Jewish life have understood them to make reference to material blessings, intellectual blessings, and spiritual blessings. According to Jewish tradition, for our lives to be complete, we need all 3. They remind us that we need both physical, intellectual, and spiritual sustenance. It's really the last, as I was saying earlier, the shalom, the peace, the wholeness of the heart that matters most. The goal of life for Judaism, after all, isn't happiness, it's holiness. And holiness comes as a result of experiencing shalom, of wholeness, completeness, inward harmony and tranquility, and a sense of fulfillment in life. That is the real challenge of living a Jewish life. In our Torah portion, after giving the blessing, the text continues, and they, the priests, shall put my name upon people Israel, and I will bless them. What does that mean? How is God blessing the people if the priests just did the job? The rabbi suggests the answer is in how we see the priests. Is it the priest blessing? What if the priest is lousy at their job? What if you just had a fight with them? What if you doubt their integrity? In other words, what if you experience the priests as we experience people around us? That is, what if we experience them as that they're in our way? The priest, therefore, becomes the vessel of the blessing, not the provider of the blessing. The priest is Klei Kodesh, the holy vessel, and surely, as Rashi suggests, should give the blessing with due reverence and feeling with the appropriate kavanah. But it's not about the priest, or now the rabbi or the cantor. It's about connecting with the sacred, with what is holy. And what does it mean to connect with what is holy? It means having an awareness, having God's name placed upon the people, and waking up to the reality that while we may not be the protagonists in our own narrative, we're also not the center of the universe. Those around us are not in our way. They're connected to us. They're created in the divine image, Klei Kodesh, vessels of holiness, just like us. We're reminded by the priestly blessing this week that anyone can speak words of prayer or blessing. For them really to count, they must come from a place of spiritual integrity, of faith in the future, of trust in the power of words to change our lives. It's a challenge of being a blessing in the lives of others that has kept us striving for tikkun olam, for healing the world, alive and thriving in our community for centuries. That is truly our job, to figure out how to bring blessings into the lives of others and thereby fulfill our obligation as human beings created in the image of the divine to remind people that they too represent God's image in the world. In many ways, it sums up to me the entire Jewish attitude about the role of human beings in our world. Our job is to be a blessing to others, not only to our family and to friends, but to strangers and people that we don't know. And yet, in the wake of tragedy, in the wake of mass shootings, who's framing any of these debates or conversations in terms of mutual obligation? It turns out that the founding fathers of our country thought about citizenship not just as a matter of rights, but also as a matter of responsibility to others and to the whole. According to one historian, Dr. Catherine Denial, the founders of this country did not believe in unlimited individual freedom. They agreed that the best form of government was one in which individuals gave up a portion of their total freedom in order to take care of the community. We give up a portion of our total freedom the freedom to do whatever we want, whenever we want, however we want, no matter what the consequences for others, in order to live in a community with other human beings. We balance what each of us personally wants with some responsibility to the needs of the other. That's part of what it means to be a member of a community, a citizen, part of a bigger whole, responsible to that whole. And in the end, that is our choice, how we want to encounter the world. Do we want to see the world as filled with people who merely want to get in our way, or do we want to see others as bestowers of blessing, vessels of holiness? Certainly, the latter is harder. It's much easier to see ourselves as essential and others as inconsequential. I wish I believed that this framing would shift our nation's echo chamber. What would our nation be if we focused less on our own centrality and more on what we owe to each other? At the least, we owe each other the space to live and breathe without fear. And though our nation feels broken, we must choose connection and wholeness. We must work together to build a community of blessing, of holiness, and peace. At all times, and especially now, the power to bless each other is indeed a gift, and we should not let that gift go to waste. And so while you see us bless and give this blessing from the Bima often, we want an opportunity for each other to bless. And so I would ask that if you are able to once again rise and put your hands on the shoulder of a loved one that you might be here with. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and if not, to think of someone that you want to bestow this blessing on. If you're at home, to do the same thing. We're going to open the ark. And then as you're standing there with your arms around someone, as you are meditating on a loved one that you're picturing in your mind that you want to bestow a blessing on, you can repeat after me. Yivarechecha Adonai, V'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav, Elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav, Elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God bless you with all good. May God keep all evil from you. And may God fill your heart with wisdom and grace you with all truth. May God lift up God's merciful face and shine on you for all time. And may God grant you eternal peace. And may God grant you eternal peace.
Yeh ratzon, may it be God's will, we say, amen. Please be seated. We turn to our moment of memory, Yizkor, page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Remember those most recently lost in our community: John Alvarez, Patricia Duncrack, Stanley Eastern, Irving Fink, Alicia Littman, and those whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of their death, fall at this time: Isaac Adler, Amelia Backman, Frank Byrne, Henry S. Blower, Arthur Cohen, Robert Cohen, Phil Cohn, Esther Daniel, Jack L. Davis, Judith Dreyer, Mike Milton Drucker, Dorothy Durkheimer, Carl S. Fry, Leslie G. Gilbert, Marilyn Glazer, Harry Glickman, Isidore L. Golby, Elizabeth Goldfaden, Charles Greenblatt, Carmen G. Hayward, Marlene Jacoby, Patricia Lynn Jorgensen, Florence M. Kane, Edith Kaplan, Jack J. Carlin, Sue Kawamoto, Mary Rebecca Kinspel, Marcella Leonardi, Siddle Levine, Isabel Martin, Martha Beatrice Martin, Zachary Alexander McConnell, Roger Sella Meyer, Edward D. Ted Mesher, Helen Middleman, Belle Morrison, Mark Plattman, Rose Popick, Shirley Rabinowitz, Irene Rocha, Paul Rosen, Hy Samuels, Richard Savinar, Babette Schnitzer, Leonard E. Schnitzer, Jack B. Schwartz, Ruth Scheinen, Joseph Shemansky, Alvin W. Schultz, Hattie Sonfeld Simon, Robert M. Steinberg, Regina Jean Tarpey, Mo M. Tonkin, William L. Unger, Joshua Weiner, Benita Weinstein, Irving David Wilson, Hetty Winterman, Pauline Berkowitz Wright, Leah Zavin, Richard Zimmerman. You're also in a period of mourning or honoring the memory of a loved one, or I mispronounced your loved one's name and you'd like to share it with the community, please do so now. We honor all of their memories as we rise. We turn to page 294 for Kaddish Yatom, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'alam u'amei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei b'kudsha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. V'osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all the world, to which we say, amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories always be a blessing. Please be seated. Shabbat shalom again.
Shabbat shalom.
Another mazel tov to Elijah and to your whole family. We look forward to celebrating tomorrow morning, 10:30, back here. It's very exciting. Before that, we have Torah study at 9 a.m. You can join online on Zoom. This week is taught by Sivan Rothholz. And then on Sunday, we have two things happening. One is the next in the series, again, by Sivan. There were some problems with the link last week, so if anybody tried to log on, everything's been fixed. Please log on again. There's a 6-series class that Sivan is teaching on the women that you didn't meet in Hebrew school, characters in the Bible. She is a fascinating, she was a professor and then went to rabbinical school, so there is a lot of deep knowledge there. She's a fabulous teacher and has been doing Torah study for us and now doing this 6-part class. You do not have to attend all the classes to go to one of the classes or any of that, so people can drop in and out. So please join that at 10 a.m. on Sunday, and it's going every Sunday for 6 weeks. And then there's also a hike with congregant Tracy Prince through understanding sort of the indigenous community in our area. And now I can't remember where we're meeting, and maybe some, this parking lot behind me. So we're meeting in the parking lot at the synagogue at 10. So if you want to be in person and doing something, you can meet in the parking lot at 10 with Tracy Prince. If you want to be online, then you can Zoom into the class with Sivan. So much going on. It's very exciting.
So much. And that's just within the next week.
That's just the next week. We'll just stop right there. It's great.
Wonderful. Well, let us end, before we head out for Kiddush together, let us end the way we started. Shalom Aleichem, welcoming the angels into our midst for the next 25 hours or so.
Page 24. I was like, wait a minute, page 24. Back in the beginning.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Makor Chachayim, source of life, source of blessing. Help us to be a blessing, to bring more blessings into the world, to fulfill our obligation of being human beings created in your image, in the divine image, to bring more healing, more justice, more peace to your world. Can you hear so? May it be God's will, and we say, Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Do you want to do motzi so that people can? We did Kiddush, we can do motzi in that way.
Let's do it, and then we can b'tei avon, we can eat up. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
B'tei avon. Please put your prayer books on the back. Susan called it out on your way out. Happy birthday, Michael Barnes.